build them out and build working applications for them. So it's really cool. It's going to be exciting. Like I said outside, our mission is to accelerate the adoption of artificial intelligence in Birmingham for all. So we're all here. We're all trying to learn. We've all put our toe in a little bit, but at this point, dipping the toe in, we got to jump in the pool. Okay? I promise it's really not as cold as it looks on the outside. Once you get in there and get going, it's going to make it easy. All right, so a bit about our team up here. We have, how do you say the last name?
Kano.
He is a product lead at Listed Kit over at Harmony Venture Labs, and we have the wonderful Miss Alyssa Bullard.
Yep.
Also a product leader over at Harmony Venture Labs, and I'm going to turn this over to them because they are in charge, and I'm just a hype man. So please welcome our wonderful speakers from Harmony Venture Labs today.
Thank y'all. As Scott mentioned, I'm Karan. This is Alyssa. We do product at Harmony Venture Labs, and now fittingly, we want to do these product breakout rooms moving forward. A little bit about Harmony Venture Labs. We are a venture studio, which very simply means we have a fund. We go and find interesting ideas out there in the wild to build, and then we try to take 90 to 120 days to turn those ideas into software solutions that we try to spin out as startups. So we're like a startup launcher. It's really fun, really cool. We've learned a lot about building product with AI, and we want to share that with you in these breakout rooms.
Yeah, so to kick it off with, what actually is product management? So what Karan and I do every day is really be the translation layer between the customer and the offering. So we are really the advocate for our customer, what our customer needs for the business. We work on technology products, so we work on software, but the core product management principles really do apply to other types of businesses as well. So I personally think they're worth learning even if you don't work on software products. So you'll notice kind of our four key pillars of product management. And one thing to point out is that the offering and the solution actually comes at the very end. So a lot of people, when they get into software products, they jump right to kind of the solution. I have a great idea. We actually spend most of that time that Karan talked about when we decide what types of companies to spin off, doing these other three pieces. So figuring out what customer we're serving, who are we actually building for and why? What problems are we solving? Are they burning problems? Do they know that they have these problems? And are these problems frequent enough to actually like make an impact and warrant a solution that's worth paying for? And then workflow. So what are they doing today? What types of tools are they using? What are they doing manually? We like to build solutions that fit into the world of context that customers already have some sort of understanding with, are familiar with. We find that it tends to serve better adoption.
In the age of AI, let's talk about how product is changing. Product management as a skill and as a career is evolving in two key ways with AI. AI is enabling us as product builders and product owners to move faster in ways we couldn't before. Whether it's doing research, designing solution ideas, analyzing insights from conversations with customers, those just basic processes to actually go from, I want to solve this vague idea to here's a specific problem I'm going to solve, has become so much faster and so much easier to do now. You can become a master in the problem you're trying to solve using AI a lot faster now. It's a really good skill to have. On the other side, the products we're building, if you look at all the solutions out there, traditional software was quite limited compared to what AI can do. So not only now are we empowered to find problems to solve, the solutions we build using AI in our products can solve problems a lot more creatively that old school software could not.
Yeah, so speaking of old school software, before we get into how AI can make our software and solutions so much better, we can talk a little bit about where we're at today. So we all know how powerful software is compared to manual workflows, gives us speed, structure, consistency, and availability. The one limitation on that software today is there's not really a lot technically that we can do to customize exactly for one user and for that user's needs. So tools today end up becoming very broad, very one-to-many. So for example, if you look at Airbnb, a tool that we're all very familiar with, You log in, and the first thing you see are all these different listings kind of screaming at you. The first thing that you're probably going to do is find one that catches your eye, click into it. Maybe you're checking how many bedrooms it has. Maybe you're checking to see if it has a pool, and then ultimately going to book your trip. So Airbnb, as the example, is giving you access to all of the options, but all of the work to accomplish your goal is still being done by the human.
But today with AI agents in our programs, we can actually build solutions that serve a whole group of people, but it still feels and curates the experience one-to-one because we're plugging in an AI agent that understands our customer, understands the workflows, and actually works with some amount of discretion dynamically as the work is being done. We can take the benefits of old school software, but tailor it to each and every customer we're building solutions for. The example I like to show, this is a real example. Me and my friend Praise were going to Austin for Thanksgiving, and we had a fixed budget and very specific interests on what we wanted to do in Austin. We just kind of gave it to Gemini to come up with a plan. And essentially, Gemini not only helped me find places to stay with my budget, it also was my travel buddy as I was going through Austin because it had access to my Google Maps and it had access to the internet. So during Thanksgiving, when restaurants were unexpectedly closed, Gemini knew where I was and found me new restaurants to go to. An actual travel buddy that was practically free in my pocket going around with me on my trip compared to the old school Gemini experience, night and day, what we can do with AI now. A good question to consider then is, why is it worth building your own maybe agentic travel buddy if Gemini can already do so much of it? We believe the next time I have to go and book another trip, Gemini will remember my general preferences, but it won't know specifically down to the last detail how I like to travel, how my itinerary looks, how my budgeting goes. And that's where we can build travel agents or any specific like workflow-based agents to do these jobs to be done a lot more accurately, repeatedly over time that can learn about your travel preferences and go on further. So that I think is the opportunity of why, though Gemini is so powerful and can do all of these things, there's still a lot of room to innovate in the world of building agentic products.
So now that we've decided that we want to build an agentic travel buddy, the first thing that we do is go back to our pillars. So before we get to the offering, first we need to talk about the customer, the problem, and the workflow. So who's our customer? It's people like Karan. It's travelers with an upcoming vacation that are maybe going to Austin with their friend Praise. The problem we're solving is Karan and Praise need help finding the best place to stay. Maybe they don't know Austin that well. They don't know what the best solution is here. And then talking through our workflow, so this very much maps to what we showed in Airbnb. What is the human doing today with the software? So they're defining the trip, exploring results generated, narrowing their choices down, and ultimately booking the best option. And now that we've established all of those pieces, we can start to think about an offering. So this is a really interesting thought exercise, and this is how we approach most of our products, is understanding the workflow today and then figuring out how we can leverage technology to take cognitive load off of the customer at each step. So I'd love you to kind of take a second and think about ways that you've kind of used ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and where in these steps you think that an agent might be able to do this step instead of having the human do it. Not sure if anyone has any ideas or thoughts.
Does anyone have any ideas of which steps we could use AI to automate? Narrow choices. That's a good one. You could pick a bunch of listings and then the AI could narrow them down based on your preferences. Anything else? All of them? Yeah. Can you say more? Yep.
I'm a little bit more understanding what you're going through. So.
Okay.
Yeah, so I agree with you.
Okay.
I would say all except for defining the trip and decide on the best option. All except for those two.
Nice.
I was actually going to say define the trip.
Uh-huh.
I think like if I'm going to like
Mhm.
I'm probably like, I don't know what I don't know. You know, if, like I ended up going to, I don't know, Portland, Maine a while back and had the best fried chicken I've ever had in
Mhm.
Maine, which was not something I ever expected coming from Alabama. But to have something to say, hey, here's what you don't know,
Yeah.
you should be exploring.
Mhm.
It's pretty cool.
That's a very good insight. And I like that we have different pieces that we're picking.
Yeah.
We took a stab at what we would have the AI pick on the next slide. Go ahead, Alyssa.
Yeah, so we also think that the agent can do most of this. Where we're pulling the human in are the pieces that we're making the decision that we think they should have some control over. So defining the trip in our scenario, you could absolutely ask an agent where you should go, what you should do. In our scenario, Karan has a pretty good idea that he wants to go to Austin. So we're having the human define the trip and then confirm the best option, right? We want to have that in decision maker, the reviewer be the human, to make sure that the agent isn't going off of course before we hand over our credit card and ultimately book the trip. But this is a good example of how much the agents really can do and can really shift a product like Airbnb, where the human is doing all this work, into something that is really completely different. One other tip here, just as a product management best practice, is we hold our solutioning pretty loosely. So this is, think about it as a hypothesis of the best way to approach this problem. As you have heard in this room, there are many different approaches that you could have here. Ultimately, whatever product follows this framework would be put in front of customers, tested, iterated on over time.
Talking about moving faster as a product manager using AI, what Alyssa said about iterating fast and getting to the right solution instead of just going with your first, we can now use AI to actually come up with solution prototypes, do our research a lot faster, and tools like Lovable, V0, and even Claude can do it now inside Claude itself, can actually mock up prototype versions of these solutions that you want to test out, make them clickable, make them almost working but very real. You can put your solution in front of people and see how they react to it. From that, you can learn, one, are you good at design? Does your product make sense? And two, does it actually deliver value? You can do prototype demos really quickly now. Mocking up a prototype on Figma would require, one, a designer who knows how to use Figma, and two, the design sense to actually tell your story effectively. With AI, we just do quick iteration loops as we keep designing different versions of our solutions, putting it in front of people, collecting the insights, and iterating on these prototypes until we're definitely sure, okay, we want to invest some money into building a cool solution for this product. So we have a prompt here. It's pretty simple. You can tweak a lot of parts of this as well. You can change out the traveler's piece. You can make it your own if you have a problem or a product that you are investigating right now. You should get the slides after this, so you don't have to worry about taking a picture of it. And put it into one of these tools, Lovable, V0, Claude. See what kind of prototypes you get and see if it makes sense to you. And if you're actually pursuing an idea, maybe put your prototype in front of someone who may be a good user. See how they react to it. And then the fun part is, once you nail down the first solution you're going to build, you put it in front of people, they're using your product, they're liking it, we can start expanding our product scope to be wider. You can see here we have some examples of, finding other accommodations, checking in, finding events, finding restaurants. This slide, I think, is showing you how many things you can go into, but I want to actually focus in on start with one customer problem first, narrow down on a really specific demographic you're going after, a specific workflow, and really clean up your solution. Once you get people using that product, you can expand a lot easier than if you were to try and solve 5 different problems at once, because that literally diverts your energy, your effort, your money into solving 5 different problems. So much faster, just pick one workflow, nail it down, use AI to help you move faster, and then build on top of that as you're solving problems. Our predictions for now, given everything in AI changes so fast in the product world, is Agentic products will be the new standard, whether it's on your phone, inside a mobile app, on a website. Agents will be the new norm to help you do things a lot faster, a lot more effectively than you having to go and figure out everything yourself. And anyone here who's interested can start building agents that work for them with the tools we have available to us, like Claude Code and any of the other IDEs out there. You can use those to start building agents that you sell as a product or just for your own workflows. I've made an agent that helps me manage my inbox just for my internal workflows. You don't necessarily have to sell this product to a customer. You can just build cool products that solve difficult problems using agents.
What's your prediction on agentic business models?
Can you elaborate on that question?
Sure, you're spending tokens. Somebody will pick those tokens.
We are all at HVL circling around pricing around agentic products itself. Yeah, I think, yeah. Do you have any thoughts, Alyssa, on agentic pricing?
I mean, I think we're seeing a lot more usage-based pricing models, and I know internally we're kind of toying around with usage-based pricing models that are kind of tied to the economics on the calls to the LLMs. And I think with the projects you guys are working on, the cost of hitting those LLMs has gone way down as well.
Yeah.
So I think we're all kind of just waiting to see what happens there, but I do think it has implications.
Maybe it seems to like pull in the blockchain using the payment of making it cheaper, and it's the flow of information is going to be gated, and blockchain will be able to allow certain people who can afford it or not afford it to access that information. I would go a step further and say I was wondering about where's the human in the loop, because when you just go full AI or agentic, I keep abreast of what's happening with some of these agents. They're like, hey, we're smarter than the humans. We'll do what we think. We'll create our own language. We'll do our own social media models. We'll, what I'm alluding to. And I'm like, you got to keep the human in the loop. Okay? And it's cool that you guys are talking about it, because I'm not really seeing that. Like, you're creating an agent, allowing you to do all this stuff for access to your personal information, but where are they sending your information to?
Yeah. Okay, so we have like two different topics here. One is about the trust in agentic experiences. To answer the pricing question really quickly, we have seen the cost of tokens kind of commoditize and get really cheap. But the truth is, we don't have a concrete answer. Like, we are debating on pricing models right now. A subscription recurring revenue is good for the health of a business. Usage-based is better for the user who's using an AI as they go. And those kind of conflict with each other of which is the best model.
Anthropic's business is doing great. Anthropic went from $1 billion in revenue
Right.
to $6 billion. Like, they're billions per month they're adding in revenue.
Yeah.
Because in the gold rush, the person who sells shovels and pickaxes makes a lot of money.
Yeah.
The question for us as product people
Yes.
is if they can make $1 billion a month in tokens, we as product people need to be making $3 billion and even the $2 billion profit.
Yes.
So the catch is the business model on top.
Mm-hmm.
So to your point, yeah, we could throw Gemini out there, we could do internal inference, we can do a bunch of things to reduce the cost.
Mm-hmm.
But we just, I don't know, this is the thing I always grapple with. It's like, okay, great, we're
Yeah.
gonna allow someone to have a conversation. It could be a non-deterministic conversation, but each non-deterministic conversation costs a penny.
Yes.
Something. So I need to be making
things. We're definitely seeing that, like, I wouldn't say the death, the downfall of unlimited usage and unlimited subscriptions like old SaaS had of like, if you have 2,000 users on a team, unlimited subscription, or you pay only a flat fee. But I think we will always have caps on usage on our.
You need to use the chat box. Right?
Yeah.
You say like, oh, every time someone chats with it, we want $1 because we stop you from using the case. So it's like value-based pricing. But it's like, I don't want to pay every time someone chats with it. That helps a lot.
Yeah, I think that's a great point in that the product principles still apply of like applying the tool that helps them get to the job to be done. So like being judicious about where you're applying the agent and where you're deploying it as a business, I think is also important too.
Yeah.
nuance as to when you kind of let the customer go wild and kind of choose their own destiny, and when you kind of guide them along from a business perspective too, to be conservative on cost.
No, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good. I also want to quickly add that Fin does a good job. Fin is a support bot for Intercom. I don't know if everyone here is familiar with Fin, but it basically has replaced the old archaic chat bots with an AI that knows your support library and chats with people who have questions about your business on your website. And Fin charges you only if Fin thinks that the customer's support question was answered properly. So they do resolution-based pricing. If the issue was resolved, we'll then only charge you, which has been awesome because I don't have to pay a lot anymore for like support. But then how does Intercom make money? You know, like how are we actually?
Intercom is another question.
Yeah.
I've had so many issues with them.
Fin is like their unicorn like success, but the rest of Intercom has been
it's
quite rocky.
They don't know their product.
Yeah.
It's buggy. It's a buggy product.
Yeah. I guess we haven't used much of Intercom like at HVL because we're so small, but we've heard the horror stories. To answer your question about the fully hands-off agentic loop, we are more and more starting to believe that it's possible. Especially we've seen you hear stories about OpenClaw. OpenClaw is just like basically an agent. You can give access to all of your stuff and then it runs and does things for you. I'm still trying to figure out what it does every single day, 24/7. I'm sure if you gave it a plan, it would go and do it, but is it just reading through your finances every day? I'm not sure, but you can actually have an agent that has control of all your banking app, your mobile app, your texts, and like work for you. But I think OpenClaw is an extreme example of you've given an AI in like full access of everything that's valuable to you without any training. And that's a kind of design principle that we are working on with our products is ideally, for example, Listikit that I'm working on, we want our real estate agents to sign up and they have an AI assistant that does all their paperwork in the background. And all they're doing is answering really like high emergency problems, but their main time, they're just spent outside selling homes. They're not sitting in an office doing paperwork. We want our AI to do that. But the idea is, the design principle we're applying there is, the first deal they do with our assistant, it's very hands-on, it's very training focused, almost like hiring a real employee. You know, you give it your SOPs, you give it your training manuals. You probably when you hire someone, you're sitting and looking over their desk while they're working for the first couple of weeks to make sure they're doing a good job. Applying that same principle to AI of using human in the loop to train an agent so that the human doesn't have to be in the loop as much over time, you know? You can learn a lot from the feedback your users are giving the agent that they're paying for to then train it to be better moving forward. So that's kind of how we're looking at that principle right now. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but also, in your experience, how are you handling the AI adoption of these apps? I mean, you got, say, a boomer, older person, like, oh my God, computer, right? Internet, an app, what's that, you know? How are you handling that? How are you getting them to be comfortable, letting them think they have the self-efficacy, the confidence, the capability to use that, that they will keep going to that instead of going to a website and use, looking on, one of the common, travel sites.
Yeah, that's a good question. I do have some insight, but I want to check if Alyssa has any
Yeah,
thoughts here.
I think that comes down to knowing your customer really well. So if you're solving for a customer, that technical capability is like part of that, right? And we choose which products and which customers and which problems we want to serve. So if that's a limitation of your customer segment, like that's absolutely something you should think about when designing your product. And maybe it's a little bit more of a handheld experience to using these tools as you're growing trust in them. I don't know if you have anything else.
Yeah, with Listikit, we work in real estate, and most of the people I do sales calls with, support calls with, are older boomers. And it's interesting that they are the most excited about AI. They're the most trusting, they're the most, oh yeah, let me give her all my documents and let my AI assistant figure it out for me. And I'm like, no. Please review the information. I'm the one having to tell them to be the human in the loop. I've actually found it harder to bridge someone who was using a traditional software in the industry to then come into our agentic experience. So just to clarify, the older people who've come in and used our product, they were using spreadsheets and pen and paper to manage their entire back office, and they're like, oh my God, I need an AI to help me, because literally ChatGPT told them that we are really good at what we do. We figured out how to get ChatGPT to recommend us, so ChatGPT does that now. So ChatGPT says, use listed kit and you'll be good. So then they come to us and they're like, take all of this stuff and let the AI handle it for me. But it's the younger, more technical people who aren't like blinded, I guess, by like the AI hype. They're like, okay, specifically how does X work and Y work? So they're actually harder to sell. And honestly, we haven't really figured out what's the like silver bullet for designing experiences like that can convince an entire group of people to immediately get it. Some require an extra support call to like walk them on. Some people just get it and don't even talk to us. So we're still learning about that, and we'll get back to you once we have a better answer for you. Yeah. Go ahead.
This kind of aligns with what you're talking about. Where do you see, in your experience, interfaces going? Because it feels like it's just a bunch of APIs just kind of flying all over the place. How do you connect those things?
That's a good question. I was literally designing a dashboard today for what our new listed kit experience is going to be now that we're trying to make our agent autonomous to like 70%. And I was thinking about the same thing. As I was designing this dashboard, so this is not a prediction for where UI is going to go. I think this is just what I'm learning as we're working through these problems. I think just a stream of text of like, I did this for you, I did this for you, I did this for you. No, that's too overwhelming, especially in high volume businesses, whatever it is, whether it's closing a lot of homes, you have an agent managing 15 warehouses at the same time. Just a stream of text, kind of what we thought it would be, just like a long ChatGPT chat, I don't think is going to be the way forward. I think the way we've been designing these experiences, we imagine, what if I was working with a human? How would I interface with a human? So some patterns there of like, well, your assistant only really bothers you if they have an issue that they need your approval on. So almost like we're using the ideas of like feeds and cards to highlight specific issues. And then when you want to investigate them, you get to see a stream of work and thought that's been done behind there. But again, design in this agentic experience is I think the most challenging, because it's doing all of these things for you, but you only really need to see things that it can't do. But then there's the other side of the coin of like, you want to create transparency in your product so that people know that they're getting their money's worth and your product is actually working. You know, like the equivalent of peering over someone's desk and seeing what they're doing. That also needs to exist. So that's kind of where I'm.
Modalities we're addressing. What is the future modality? To your point, Google's like, well, today we have very form-based. Most websites are full of forms. So like, we're in EdTech. If the teacher wants to add a student to a class, I can go to the roster.
Yeah.
They click add student. I can do it. Wouldn't it be better if it was just like, what do you want to do today? I want to
Add a student.
Class,
yeah.
right? What's their name? John. What's their email? John.doe. I added John.doe. Okay, great. Why did I have to go through 4 forms?
Yes.
But again, that's in the back end, we're calling APIs, right? We're trying to predict what the thing they want is.
Yeah.
We're trying to change the whole interface. I think most of the frontier labs, I don't want to call them labs because they're all for profits, all the frontier for profits. We're trying to figure out audio, right?
Yeah.
That is the thing. So right now, a lot of what happens is we have text, and then like 11 labs reads the text.
Yeah.
They're actually going audio to audio. So as soon as we can get the models to be audio to audio, we should be able to. So like again, if a boom was like, I need to buy my grandchild something for Christmas, should it just be like, well, here's the 3 hottest toys. I mean, does that make sense? Actually, they like Lego. All right, here's like the like Jurassic Park. Yeah. How much you want to spend? $20. Great. I put a $20 Jurassic Park Lego in your thing. You want me to buy it with your card? Sure. So like, that's an agentic. So I think there's modality.
Yeah.
That like the forms are.
Yeah. And that line right there though of like, when the AI figures out the 3 options, how do they show it to you? Or needs visual aid, and it's so subjective that it's an interesting challenge. I think one like, oh yeah, go ahead.
Get back to what you said specifically. When I was in grad school doing research with technology adoption throughout its lifespan, it was all about universal design when it comes to the interface question. And like you said, kind of narrowing down to getting more specific and actually to retrieve that specific individualistic information. And I'm excited about the interfaces, about automated. There's a lot of automated design that is coming out of the pipeline. I'm really excited about that.
I'm going to be doing, I'm sure Alyssa and the HVL team is going to be doing a lot of research because we all have design projects going on right now. We might share that in the next breakout room if y'all are interested on like what we learned. I'm particularly curious about how Steve Jobs designs his products because the iPhone does so much for us, yet you don't feel overwhelmed when you look at it. It's not at all related to AI and agentic design, but it's a design masterclass if there was one, you know? So seeing if there's any principles there that we could apply into the products we build now. Yeah. Any thoughts?
No, this is great.
All right, I'll go ahead.
There is a resistance, I think, for me, to talking to a computer. And that's
Yeah.
really a hard barrier to get.
I think, I mean, it's so true. I got a call from like, hey, I'm an AI insurance. No, I'm not even talking to them. But I feel like the same resistance came when first mobile devices came around, when computers came around. People were saying like, oh, I use pen and paper. I'm good. And then the revolutions happen. I think it's up to the product builders of the world to genuinely deliver value that excites people to get onto these platforms and use them. Classic case in history of, okay, I can't do it, like e-commerce literally exists because of the internet and I couldn't do that before, you know? So that I think will counter the resistance. Yeah. Go ahead.
Well, I just wanted I find that intriguing because there are experiences now when I prefer that I'm talking to AI, and I'll give you the best one is go to the worst fast food place in Birmingham, go to the drive-thru.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And of course, nobody thought Chick-fil-A when I just said that, right?
No.
Same person, because that's an effortless, wonderful thing. Like, if suddenly it was AI and Chick-fil-A, I would be pissed.
Yeah.
But the McDonald's drive-thru, getting my order precise, knowing exactly what it is, it's clear, you know. So we just have to beat out humans in the experience, and if it's better, not to pick on the waterworks, but I had to spend 30 minutes yesterday.
Feel free to pick up water.
Yeah.
And I would give anything for that to have been an AI.
Yeah.
Right? So again, it goes back to how well is the experience designed. I'm not a designer, I'm a marketer, but like when that happens, now will you want your counselor, your therapist to be that, talk to them as an AI? Maybe never.
Yeah.
Right? Like maybe that's always something that will be different. But anyway, I guess my point of this is that when the experience is better, you're gonna prefer it. Like it is mine.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that makes so much sense. We're locking it in. We're gonna do a design walkthrough next week or next month, sorry, about one, I guess, how different tools right now are solving their design challenges, but two, I think I want to explore with you guys like the idea of dynamic UI. So, for example, if you use Listed Kit, which is working with real estate agents, a super high trusting non-technical user, their UI would look different, literally different, just maybe a voice button. Whereas someone who's more of like a back office worker using our AI to move faster would have dashboards and tabs and lists. The product is smart enough to know when to surface UI instead of the user having to go and find the UI that they need and pulling it out. So that's the thought for the day. I think, do we have others? This is for Birmingham AI, if you want to register for upcoming events. We will also be on here for next month, I think. If not, we'll post it on LinkedIn, so you guys should check it out. Is anyone scanning this right now? Got one? I think there's more things to scan. I think Scott is supposed to be here for this stuff, but he's not. So imagine he's here. Are you guys ready for 2026? And yes, please, this is super important. This is our first one. We weren't sure if we went too easy or too difficult. So go ahead.
We've been to 9 events so far. You guys are going fast.
Thank you.
The reason I say that is you had a good presentation. Sometimes the other events can get a little bit, the breakouts can be a little bit too technical for the people showing up here. You guys, it was a good, happy medium.
Thank you.
And you're both knowledgeable. We appreciate that.
Thank you so much.
Engage in the questions because sometimes there's not enough on the back end there, here we're 30, 40 minutes in.
Yeah.
And there's time to talk. We don't feel rushed.
Good.
Because we have questions.
Yes.
And part of the AI adoption is listen to the people. And that's something that needs to be addressed with Birmingham AI. But you guys, you're rock stars on this. I appreciate it.
Thank you for the kind words. We will keep adequate room for questions. Noted. Awesome. Yes. But yeah, if we can get any feedback, if it was too easy, if it was too difficult, if it was happy medium, would love to know, because we can talk about product and AI forever. So you let us know how it went, and then we'll adjust our topics as we see. And more sponsors. See you next month. Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.